You're watching The Weekly from RT. The big stories that shape the week from us, and violence rips through Germany's economic capital with a crackdown on rioters outside the European Central Bank's new HQ. Terrorism in Tunisia as 23 killed in a museum in an attack claimed by Islamic State. And Washington grows tired with Israel's uncompromising stance on Palestine and threatens to re-evaluate the relationship. That's coming up too this hour. Live at 5 from the RT News Centre, it's Kevin Owen with you. Thanks for your company. Our top story then. The EU's financial capital Frankfurt in chaos this last week. Raging crowds set cars alight and faced a hard-headed response from the police outside the European Central Bank's new HQ as well. Well, there were some of the scenes. Some 10,000 officers were on duty to quell the unrest. If you work it out, it's about one for every protester end of the day. Water cannon was deployed. Police helicopters circled overhead. Before the protest, security was stepped up too in the city, and kilometres of barbed wire placed around the ECB building. Now, such scenes may come at odds with Germany's image as Europe's economic powerhouse and symbol of stability. But as Peter Oliver explained in the week, the real picture is not that bright.
At the top of Europe's economic tree and right up there when it comes to living standards, Germany is hardly the place you would find to be ripe for revolution. But according to these people, that's exactly what it is. Universities revealed that 1 in 5 Germans thinks that revolution is the only way to bring about reform in society.
The aim is to reclaim our democracies. We feel that the European project has been kidnapped by very specific interests who put before the interest of the financial sector than the protection of human rights.
This is Europe and the poor against the rich. I think that is what's pretty much about and why I'm here.
Wednesday's violence showed us that not all is rosy in the European economic powerhouse, and that those shouting for change are determined to be seen and heard. From Frankfurt, I'm Peter Oliver for RT.
Well, with that as the backdrop, then maybe it's no wonder the brand new ECB headquarters has become a bit of a bone of contention. For some, it stands for the financial heart of the EU. Others, though, see it as an enormous and extremely costly symbol of bitter austerity. Let's take a look at said building, shall we? And some facts and figures of who's living there and how much it costs behind those towering glazed walls. Well, the new HQ occupies a hefty 120,000 square metres. It rises way up as well, nigh on 200 metres above Frankfurt. But maybe the most annoying thing for the protesters is the cost. Over €1 billion it cost to build. And that's not the only parallel being drawn. Some see those inside the ECB as elite and corrupt bureaucrats. Well, we got some thoughts about it in the week from global financial markets expert Patrick Young, who says the building itself demonstrates the deep division in European society.
Look at what the ECB tells us. It's another incredible shimmering skyscraper in Manhattan, as they call Frankfurt. It's an attempt to demonstrate the isolation of the political elite from the general people. Look at the whole project. Utterly mismanaged. It's a travesty. It's a demonstration of the modern Germany, which is a country without any coherent, reasonable leadership and government. The budget for this building, more than double the total cost ultimately by the time it's delivered. That's disgusting. How many bureaucrats have been fired as a result? Not one.
Well, you can get more analysis and more reaction too, I just made a word there, on the public anger in Frankfurt online. You can find it on our website and also on RT SoundCloud. If you've not checked that out, worth a check. A lot of news came out from Tunisia in the week, didn't it? All bad too. It released as well the first video and the first moments of Wednesday's muzium terrorism, in which 23 died. It shows 2 attackers entering with assault rifles and another man who managed to escape. Most of the victims there of that attack were foreign visitors. Islamic State later claimed it carried out the assault. Well, before entering that museum, 2 gunmen opened fire on a tourist bus which was just outside. They also took scores of hostages as well. Witnesses described seeing the extremists shoot at anyone they saw in the street.
We saw people leaving a vehicle and they started shooting everyone walking down the plaza.
My co-workers were screaming, "Run, run!"
My mother was shot in the neck next to me. She couldn't move by herself. I stared death in the face.
More than 20 people who are suspected of aiding the militants have been arrested in a security crackdown. The Tunisian president now says a 3rd attacker is still on the run. Britain and the US had previously been warning tourists of a potential terrorist threat in Tunisia. It seems that situation sadly came to pass. The situation there has worsened because of the political instability that's blighted the country since the Arab Spring in 2011. Hundreds of Tunisians went on to join the ranks of Islamic State, indeed, and as we reported in the week, some 500 of them are already said to have returned again. Frank Salvato, who's been extensively studying terror issues, thinks the Western-backed Arab Spring contributed to the wider region's unrest right now.
With the advent of the Arab Spring, you see a lot of instability all over. Egypt, you're seeing someone aligning with the West, or at least aligning with Western sympathies, and you're going to see instability there. Same with Tunisia. They didn't fall to the Muslim Brotherhood and fundamentalist Islamists, so they've become targets.
It's exactly 7 minutes past 5 in the afternoon here in Moscow. I hope you can stay with RT International and me, Kevin Owen, because we've got a trip to the stars coming up for you in a minute.